This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, getting you ready for today's sports day.
3 of the first 4 games have been at home, so at some point in time you're going to have to venture outside the 806, so that'll start this week.
While having a little fun along the way.
Always good if you can blame it on somebody else, right?
Yeah, sure.
Especially some media guy.
Sure. Right, some media guy.
Catch the show live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Stafford is under center on 3rd and 1, and play fake to Brown. He's rushed and he's sacked, and the ball came out, and Dallas picks it up. It's Lawrence coming left to the 5 and into the end zone, and it looks like a Dallas touchdown. It's the first fumble recovery of the year.
And it goes for a scoop and score. Thank you, Brad Sham, as the Cowboys take down the Los Angeles Rams. Yesterday at SoFi in Inglewood, California, Cowboys get yet another win thanks to their defense. And Cooper Rush, look, he acquitted himself quite well. He didn't make any mistakes. He did what he needed to do. Cowboys offensively did what they needed to do. They took advantage of what the defense gave them, which was the scoop and score, the block punt. They didn't capitalize on that because that led to a field goal. But like I said, Cooper Rush, he didn't hurt you, and I think that's the biggest thing. Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott both were terrific. Pollard 86 yards, but 57 of them on one play that was just an effort touchdown.
Yeah, that's fair to say. No, I think the defense definitely led the charge. It felt like every time you turned around, they were making a big play for you. It's fun to watch how that defensive line just seems to be getting better and better, and the scoop and score is awesome. I love a defensive lineman touchdown, but really set the tone. And then your offense is just not making a lot of mistakes, and you love to see that. It looks like that unit is confident behind Cooper Rush. It looks like he's getting good work up front by the big guys, and it's just hard to not be impressed with just the way they've kind of handled the adversity of you're losing your starting quarterback, your star, all of that, and it's just like, hey, next man up. So you got to give Cooper Rush a ton of credit for that.
CeeDee Lamb had 5 balls for 53 yards. Probably should have had more. He had 8 targets. Michael Gallup 4 catches for 44. The one he dropped though would have gone for a first down. Would have helped extend a drive, but it's good for Gallup to be back in. It was really weird. It was like a 3rd and 2, and there was a coach or an assistant coach on the Rams sideline who was running towards Gallup as he's running towards the sideline, and he was calling out for his defensive guy for a spot for him because Gallup was clearly open, and all Rush had to do, it wasn't a crisply thrown ball, but it was a ball that Gallup probably would say he should have caught. But I wondered at the time, did that guy, because I've never seen coaches run towards the sideline. He was almost just running directly at Gallup. He wasn't inbounds by any stretch of the imagination, but I just wonder if Gallup saw that in the corner of his eye and took his eye off the ball, and that's why he dropped it.
It's possible.
It was just, but Cowboys did what they needed to do. They won the ball game, and like you said, it seems like Cooper Rush is handling things. The Cowboys are going to have to get better on 3rd down. They were only 5 of 15 on 3rd down. They didn't turn the ball over, and they took advantage of turnovers because they forced 2 fumbles, had an interception, and a block punt. So that you're +4 there.
Sure.
You're basically +4, and you're going to win a ton of ball games when you do it. But this defense is really fun to watch. Dorrance Armstrong has come into his own. Certainly what Micah Parsons is doing feels like he's getting held on every play. Feels like they could call holding on him on every play.
Yeah,
on the offensive lineman that's trying to keep him from getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, guy's an absolute stud, difference maker.
No doubt. And they're getting a lot of hurries and things like that. So, Cowboys knock off the defending Super Bowl champions, and the Rams.
They don't feel like that at this point, do they?
No. But when you look at the numbers though for Matt Stafford, he was 28 of 42 for 308, threw a touchdown, threw an interception. the Rams just had no rushing. They ran the ball 15 times for 38 yards. You're just not going to win the National Football League when you do that. Mm-hmm. Even when your quarterback throws for 300. So, Cooper Kupp, he had a terrific run. One of his longest was 75 for a touchdown. Man, that was a pretty play. I mean, he eluded a lot of guys. You saw why he was, in 75. That's funny, Jamie. They get a 75-yard reception and a 54-yard reception. So 129 yards of his 320. It's a little deceiving, the 320, because 129 come on 2 plays.
Yeah, a bit, but so he made the big throws and he made some small throws.
Well,
that's fair.
And that throw to Cooper Kupp was, the throw was maybe 5-7 yards. Kupp just did an outstanding job.
Sure.
Came across the middle. Stafford did a great job of zipping it in there, and then he took off, and he had just eluded guys with what he does.
Yeah, sure.
With what he does. So, Cowboys, like I said, I think they're off to a good start. They're fun to watch, Jeff. This is a team that...
You shut your mouth when we're talking about a win streak.
Well, I think
the Cowboys are a disaster, and we have no idea how they're going to win another football game.
Okay.
We are not jinxing this.
The question will be... It's funny, the question will be, when does Dak Prescott come back? Does he come back next week, or do they wait yet another week? And listening to Jerry Jones and his comments from the owner's box on Double T 97.3 yesterday, he kind of made it sound like Prescott is not quite ready yet, that even though he's throwing, his grip on the ball, blah, 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 is just not quite there yet. So Jerry's kind of backed off a little bit on him being back for the Rams, right? That's what he had said. Mm-hmm. Cowboys will play at Philly on Sunday night. With Tom Rinaldi, he was talking about, he shook Dak Prescott's hand and he had a strong handshake. So he felt like that strong handshake was a prelude to Prescott being ready for next week.
We should have sent you there to shake his hand, and then we would. There's an expert handshaker.
Right. Then we would know.
Yeah.
I thought of you, and I wrote this guy's name down on, and I don't know that I'll ever use this because I want to run this term by you. But Eric Collins was the television play-by-play announcer. I think he's really good. I don't know him at all. I've seen him do a few Big 12 games, but I like him. He called it an Oklahoma State touchdown. He just referred back to it. He goes, "Well, they got a tutty. They got a tutty on their first drive too."
Boy,
a tutty. What do you think about that, tutty?
I think I'm out.
You're down on the tutty. I figured you would be. I figured you.
Yeah, that makes two of us.
Down on the tutty.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought that was new. I thought that was something different.
Might be new and different. Doesn't mean it's good.
Okay. Going back to the Tech game, a number of times the offense put the defense in a bad spot, and the defense rose up. So I think you've got a defense here.
Yeah, that's not new though.
No, it's not new. But when you're playing the number 7 team in the country at their place, they continue to kind of
and I feel like
validate what they do.
Yeah, I feel like in this game you didn't put the defense in as bad of a spot as many times as you had in the past because you didn't turn the ball over. Obviously right off the bat you did with the onside kick, and
right.
2 plays later they score. Mm-hmm. So right off the bat you did. I'm trying to think of other times in the game where
there was a fourth down where you didn't get it, and you put them in a spot, and they were able to only get a field goal out of it. Oklahoma State, they took the ball in their 6th possession from their own 27. They converted on a 4th and 5, and then Tech held them to a field goal. I thought that was pretty impressive because they get the ball at the down to the 35, and then they get a 28-yard play to Bryson Green. The drive ends up stalling, and they have to kick a field goal, and Tech would leave at that point 21-20. There were some big moments in the game that cost the Red Raiders too. A couple of them, one that's pointed out on the text line when you fair catch on your own 4-yard line. You think that's the play of the game?
I think it's a play of the game.
Yeah.
I think that's where the game was lost.
Hard to argue with
You were up 31-23. Should have had the ball with all the momentum in the world at the, out the 20, 25, whatever, and instead you're starting inside your own 5 on a kick that's not a kick that's up and coming down.
Yeah.
It was going to bounce through the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
And immediately you especially with a young quarterback, you're just cutting down on the playbook there drastically. You go 3 and out. They immediately move down the field, score the touchdown, get the 2-point conversion.
Yep.
All the momentum you had is completely flipped to them. You immediately come out and throw the interception that leads to 3. You went from up 8 to down 3 in 3 or 4 minutes. All the momentum was on their side, and you were not the same team afterwards.
Yeah, because you take that onside, you take that fair catch, and you, like you said, you go 3 and out, and then you punt, and they get the ball at their own 47-yard line, and so that flips the field to their favor, and then they go, like you said, straight down the field and score.
You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah, I mean,
Was it impressive?
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
It was. I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Today is October the 10th, 2022. Time for this day in sports history. Here is Jeff McGuire.
Going to start in 1920 today because the Cleveland Indians outfielder Elmer Smith hits baseball's first ever World Series Grand Slam.
Nice.
1923, the New York Giants and New York Yankees become the first teams to play each other in 3 consecutive baseball World Series. Giants win Game 1 5-4 in the first game World Series game played at Yankee Stadium.
That's been boring, though, the same matchup 3 years in a row. It's like the college football playoff or something.
Right.
1945, in the World Series, the Tigers beat the Cubs 9-8 at Wrigley Field to clinch the series 4-3. It was the Tigers' second championship. 1956, Yogi Berra hits 2 home runs, and the Yankees beat the Brooklyn Dodgers 9-0 in Game 7 of the World Series at Ebbets Field. Yankees pitcher Don Larson was your MVP.
Yeah, because he had thrown a perfect game in that series.
1961, expansion draft to stock the Houston Astros and New York Mets took place. First pick by the Houston Colt 45s, Eddie Besmond, Bessoud, Bessoud. I said it 3 different ways there. Maybe I got it right once. I tried to look it up.
Yeah.
I found an interview with him. He seems like a very interesting guy to talk to and hear about all of his life in baseball. He actually was a coach at a community college after he retired from baseball. Never once did they mention his name in the interview. 15-minute interview, waiting for them to say the guy's name. Where was I? 1976. Giants Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey opens. With the Giants going down 24-14 to the Dallas Cowboys in front of 76,042 fans.
I thought you were going to tell me that was the miracle at the Meadowlands.
In Game 1?
Well, no, once you said Game 1, I knew it wasn't.
Okay. 1980, in the American League Championship, the Kansas City Royals beat the New York Yankees 3-0.
I know. That was at Yankee Stadium.
Nice.
That last game.
And in 2004, having already clinched his seventh F1 World Series Drivers' Championship, German Ferrari driver Michael Schumacher wins a record 13th race of the season with a victory at the Japanese Grand Prix. Jamie is a huge fan, I think, of both of these today for our food. It is National Tic Tac Day.
I'm a fan.
And
I like a good smelling breath. Very much against the bad breath.
Okay. The Tic Tac will do it.
Well, the white ones. Not all of them.
Okay.
Some of them are just for flavor, but the white ones will help
Can
your
you
breath.
sing the jingle for us?
Give me a break, give me a break. No, that's a different
That's
one.
the Kit Kat.
That's Kit Kat.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
Put a Tic Tac in your mouth and let Tic.
So apparently
don't look
neither
at
one
me.
of us can.
That's right. That's as far as I can go. Sorry.
It's also National Angel Food Cake Day.
Okay.
Nyeh. Nyeh.
I think the only time I ever have angel food cake is when I'm having a strawberry shortcake.
Okay.
Happy
Birthday to Mario Lopez, who's 49. Alleged scumbag Brett Favre is 53.
You say alleged because you don't know for a fact?
It hasn't been proven yet.
Okay.
Oh,
Just curious what you need there.
I need the court case to go through.
okay. What about the pitchers?
He'd just be weird, but stealing money from kids makes you a scumbag.
Okay.
Okay.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., 48.
Remind me not to ever look on Jeff's phone.
You look at my phone. There's no pictures on there except of my dog. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 48. Geno Smith, 32. And Andrew McCutcheon is 36. And I've got two things in history today because after the first one, I need a palate cleanser. 1944. 800 children are gassed to death at Auschwitz. This, of course, is one of the concentration camps by the Nazis during World War II. Mm-hmm. In 1987, as a palate cleanser, so we're not thinking about that all day long today, Whitesnake, Here I Go Again, tops the charts.
There you go, Jamie.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And that is this day in sports history.
Oh, boy, we kind of updated our sounder there a little bit. Time for your secret word of the day because Double T 97.3, along with basically everybody else, is tired of the national radio contest that the other stations have. So we want you to have a chance to win $10,000 right here in good old Lubbock, Texas, America. We've teamed up with the Home Zone, making your house a home, to give away $10,000. We give the secret word at this time, 8:45, and then in the afternoon during Tech Talk at 4:45. At 6:45-ish, which is now 6:51-ish, secret word for today is Falcons. 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 Okay?
Not got hosed. Falcons.
Right.
Not worst call ever. Falcons.
Not like Tom Brady deserves like a roughing the passer call just because they tackled him. Falcons.
Not officials need to be fired, but Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons. It's our secret word of the day here today at 6:51-ish. Go to doublet97.3.com. Enter that in. You could become a winner. We'll give it away on November the 18th. Of course, the more times you enter, which means the longer that you listen, the more of a chance that you have to win, which means you could be a happy person come right about Christmas time. Okay? Because Black Friday is the next week. Did you know that? The day after Thanksgiving is the next week. November the 18th is when we're going to give it away.
Okay.
We'll put $10,000 in your hand probably Monday or Tuesday. As soon as On Highest gets the official check, meets with you, shakes your hand, smiles, and says, "Thanks for listening." Okay. Come down here to the new compound, get your picture taken with Jamie, some of the other stars here, and get $10,000. You can put it right in your checking account, and it won't bounce.
Nice.
No Bitcoin or anything like that.
Good.
So going back to your Major League Baseball expansion draft in 1961, here's some names that stand out to me. Not for what they did on the field as a player, but what they did on the field as a manager. Among those selected, Gil Hodges, who was a really good player, but he would become a manager. Okay. Also selected was Don Zimmer. He was a pretty good manager for the Red Sox and others. Was also more famous maybe as a coach for the Yankees. And
Famous for being thrown by Pedro Martinez.
Martinez. Joey Amalfitano was also selected. He was a manager back in the day.
He sounds like a guy that was a lead singer in a boy band.
Yeah. In fact, he was selected off of the San Francisco Giants. So anyway, I thought that was kind of and Roger Craig was as well. He was another guy that would be a manager for the San Francisco Giants. Roger Craig was a pitcher for the Dodgers. Would go on to play a little bit for the Mets, but was more known as a manager than as a player. A lot of those guys were. Anyway, just some walking around knowledge for you for today, if you need some. A lot of people have today off. Today's Columbus Day as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them.
Have fun.
Enjoy.
I hope you're not listening. I hope you're sleeping in.
I'm sure that plenty of people, kind of have that internal clock that goes off that they just can't wait to hear your voice, Jamie.
It's close to 7. By 7, they'll probably wake up.
Wake up and go, man, I gotta get me some Jamie.
Yeah, I missed the first hour of Chuck, Jamie, and Jeff.
You're tuned in to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
That's not to say that they don't respect the run game that you have, but you're talking about one quarterback leading the conference in passing so far this year. And remember, he didn't start the first game.
Right.
Still played a lot, though.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
I just don't want to disappoint you. As much as I disappoint you, I don't want to disappoint you in some things that you expect from me.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Nice to have you with us this morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com from that. Just a quick question from someone on the onside kick. They said, stupid call. I thought it went 10 yards, drinking a lot of adult beverages, a missed explanation. Okay. Well, it was popped up in the air. The guy called for a fair catch. We hit him. You can't do that. And as a result, they got the ball at the Tech 34-yard line. So if you'd hit the ball on the ground first, then you could have done that. But they decided they did not do that. They popped it up in the air, and the guy called for a fair catch.
Yeah, that rule changed about 2 years ago, I think, when they started implementing the if you fair catch it inside the 25 on a kickoff, you get it at the 25 is when that change went in as well.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Jamie, with regard to the number of times the Tech went for it on fourth down, which they went for it 7 times, and they were successful 4 times. Do you think that changes as the team structurally gets better?
You'd like to think that you won't have to go for it as much on fourth down because you're picking up first downs.
Right.
But I think in the same scenario, it doesn't appear that way.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't. I think that's
this is it?
I think this is our coaching staff style.
Okay. Does it give you the heebie-jeebies when you do it deep inside your own, like inside your own 40? Does it make you feel like, well, that's a unnecessary gamble or a high risk?
At this point, I'm numb to it.
You're numb to it.
I just expect it.
Okay. Do you think other teams do as well now?
Other teams expect it?
Yeah.
Us to do it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's surprising anybody.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We're not.
No.
You're
Well,
right.
what are your thoughts?
I think when it's inside the 40 or inside your own 35, especially early in the game in the first half, I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather play for some field position.
Especially when your defense is playing well.
Yes. I mean, your defense has proven that.
Yeah,
to me,
but again, on the first drive of the game, if you go by that, you punt it away and you don't score 7 on the first drive of the game.
Right. No, I get it. You went for it on 4th and 1 from your own 29.
And you got like 1 and a third.
Yeah, you just barely got it.
Yeah, but
right?
you got it. That's all that matters. That's all that
it.
matters. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, and you had to get it throwing a pass to the outside.
Yeah.
Because you can't run up the middle.
You just...
I mean, if you can run the ball up the middle for 2 yards, you are a completely different offense.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't do it.
Yeah.
My frustration wasn't with the running the ball and not get. Okay, so it was, but it was how you got there. You're running into an 8-9 man box in a couple of those situations where you got one wide receiver all the way out with one defender on him, and then everybody else is between the tackles. Check out of that and do something else at that point.
Well, no, I mean, on 3rd and 1, man, you at a certain point, if you're a real football team, okay, real football teams say they know we're going to run it here and we're going to pick up a yard.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move the chains. Okay, you put all your big uglies in a box. We'll put all our big uglies in a box, and here we go. Let's go. We're not trying to pick up 8, but we can pick up 1. And right now, you're having a hard time in that situation getting back to the line of scrimmage. You're just getting manhandled up there.
It's also not just this one game that you've had trouble with it. It's been that way all season.
Yeah.
Know your limitations. Know what you can't do.
Yeah.
Try something else.
7:19 this morning here on the morning drive. We get this 3 quarterbacks hurt. Is 90 plays, 60 passes realistic football in the Big 12? What's getting your quarterback hurt is your offensive line is your quarterback's getting knocked around all the entire game, just being punished. Now Shuck was, he was running, so I mean it wasn't necessarily the offensive line's fault because he was going for a first down, just the way that he fell on his shoulder.
Yeah, but Shuck's been hurt twice. Down the field.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know specifically when Donovan Smith got hurt.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's probably a combination of all things.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's stacked up on top of each other, if there was one particular play in the K-State game that maybe he just, he came out of that game and his shoulder was wonky. Maybe he slept on it wrong. I have no idea.
Yeah.
All I know is that I was surprised to see Baron Morton roll out there because there was no indication given of that was. But then Coach McGuire wasn't asked that, or Coach Kitley wasn't asked that. Not that they would have said, "Oh yeah, hey, thank you for asking that question." His shoulder's a little sore. We don't know if he's going to start. So if he can't make all the throws on Saturday by Friday, then Baron's going to start. And then they're not going to tell you that, and probably shouldn't tell you that.
Yeah.
Well,
they trusted that he was healthy enough to come in and make one throw.
Right.
So it wasn't like they felt like he was going to break himself if he was out there.
Mm-hmm. And that's really unfortunate because, that occurs, late in the first half. It's basically 3rd and goal, and it gets knocked down, and you have to settle for a field goal, but. You go up by 4 at the half, 24-20 at that point in time of the game. Mm-hmm. So felt really good. Did you feel good at halftime?
I didn't feel like we were going to win. I felt good after the game was over. I thought we played well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was disappointed that we lost, but at 24-20 at halftime, I didn't think we were going to win.
Okay.
I mean, I thought we could win.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had a chance, but I wasn't like, oh, we got this. We're way out in front of them. 4 points. They can't make up 4 points. No, I didn't. But I was happy. I was really happy with the way you pleased. And even after the game was over, I don't think you played as well in the second half as you did in the first half. I mean, that's obvious considering you scored every bit of 7 points in the second half.
And part of it was what they did. I mean, Coach McGuire talked about that in his post-game press conference, that one of the things that Oklahoma State did defensively was dropping 8 and still being able to get pressure on the quarterback with 4 down linemen.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't sit here and go, oh, the reason you only scored 7 was credit Oklahoma State. They did this. Well, because that means you didn't make adjustments back.
Or you couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
Well, you if you made adjustments back and you couldn't, those adjustments didn't work.
Okay, well, you didn't make adjustments that worked.
Yeah, you didn't make adjustments that worked.
They made them that did, and you made them that didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I'm giving Oklahoma State credit, that means that I'm saying our coaching staff didn't get the job done.
Well, or
their coaching staff outdid your coaching staff.
Or simply put, that the adjustments that you made, your players weren't able to execute.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, you can make adjustments and you can say, hey, we need to do this, And then it's up to the players to go out and execute. And if you're not able to do that, then the team that's made the better execution of the adjustments is going to come out on top. That's part of what happened. You had too many 3-and-outs in the second half for whatever reason.
Okay.
You're not buying that, or?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you showed you could play with them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And they dominated your offense in the second half. Their team / defense, their defense / coaching staff on defense outdid your offense / offensive coaching staff.
At the end of the day, you have to say that because they won the game.
There you go.
At the end of the day. But up until, with 8:42 to go in the third quarter, when you've just scored, and to take a 30-23 lead, you got to be feeling pretty good. I was feeling pretty good at that point.
I mean, again, I feel great today, feeling like you're making big strides.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But again, up 8 doesn't, with a quarter and a half to go, doesn't make me, we got this.
No. You're right about that. I mean, it wasn't like I felt like, that we got this, game's over. No, I understand that. What happens after that is where you lost the ball game.
Yeah, I mean, we were all disgusted that a year ago that you didn't score a single point in the second half against Kansas State. Mm-hmm. I mean, you scored one time in the second half in this game. Mm-hmm. So and that's not a drastic difference to that, right?
No.
And so after the Kansas State game last year, we were like, it's not on our coaching staff. K-State made adjustments. Now, we're allowed to make adjustments, too.
Right.
Okay?
Getting your sports day started the right way. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, breaking down the biggest games.
If Texas Tech does not win the Big 12 football conference, who are you rooting for to win the conference if Tech does not win it this year?
Well, busting some chops along the way.
I hold back on sending you stuff. I mean, I'm very, very, very judicious.
We spend 3 hours a day, 5 days a week together. Why would we need to communicate during the weekends? Save it for the show.
We do. We save it for the show.
Tune into the Morning Drive live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
All right, where are you going?
Nowhere. Staying right here with Red Raider football. We are now halfway through the season, Chuck. 6 out of 12 regular season games. Not quite halfway, since we'll be in a bowl game.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm not putting it past us to be in the Big 12 championship game either, man. This conference it's a mess and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know from game to game what's going on. But, all right, we're 6 games into the season, halfway through. I want you to give me the player that's been the biggest surprise to you through the halfway point, and I want you to give me the player that's been in a positive way, and I want you to give me the biggest disappointment for a player through the first half of the season.
Okay. Biggest surprise, the biggest disappointment. I'll start with the disappointment. I think the biggest disappointment so far has been Austin McNamara. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if it's technique. I don't know if it's wind. I don't know if how the guy is snapping the ball back to him. I don't know if he's...
Did you say wind? Like we've had more wind this year than other years?
Right, yeah, wind. Yeah.
Yeah, the wind has blown in Lubbock other years.
I just was throwing out a number of, like, if I'm him, like, well, hey, man, the wind's been blowing really hard. Or, hey, everybody had me on the Ray Guy award list, and I'm trying to kick the bejesus out of the ball, and I keep mishitting it. Or, my foot keeps hitting it where the laces are instead of the bottom. Or, my cleats are too tight. I don't know. I really thought that was somebody that you could really count on to help you flip the field, and that's just not been the case. So I'm going just a little bit different there, to be just a little bit different. Okay, so I don't know that this guy's a big surprise. I just think he's been really good at doing, I think he's taken his game to another level, is Krishan Merriweather. You know, along that defensive line. I mean, he had 17 tackles yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff?
I don't think your Austin McNamara is out there. I think that's the layup answer.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's...
Well, I've always liked it when I was going through the layup line on the left side. I felt like I could hit those.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to... Because that's the guy you had the highest expectations for, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, you remember I made the joke, I think it was in the Murray State game. Yeah, it was the first game of the season when we didn't punt forever. And I was like, what are we doing, man? We haven't got the ball in the hands of our best player the whole game.
Yeah, no.
It was in the second half before he finally punted or whatever.
Right.
I think it was that game. Anyway, you know, you had such incredibly high expectations for him, and that's why I feel like it's fair to say he's been a disappointment when he hasn't been nearly as good as he's been in previous years.
Yeah. Jeff?
I can't decide between the two of these. Austin was my first pick, but to have a different answer, I can't pick between these two guys. Either one of your tackles on the offensive line. Left and right both. You've had penalties, you have holding calls, you've got missed blocks, complete olays on the offensive line, and not protecting your quarterback in any way, shape, or form. Able to get the offensive line starts with the center, but it really ends with the tackles, obviously. But those two guys have just head-scratching moments every game. It's one of the many reasons your offensive line hasn't been good is because you've gotten no protection from the outside. Positive. This feels like a cop-out answer. Baron Morton from Saturday. Did not expect to see him play that well on the road against a top 10 team as a freshman making his first start. We're talking about an ankle injury could be the difference between winning this game on the chat line. And this is going into a top 10 team's house and almost winning. That's impressive, making your first start that way. And I didn't think we'd see him at all this year. So kind of a cheating answer, but it's the best one I got.
Okay, I think I'm just gonna go off of, again, like, if you're gonna pick a guy to be a disappointment, that means it's probably somebody that you had really high expectations for. Mm-hmm. And I think Austin McNamara is fine because I had high expectations for him. Jeff went with the tackles. I feel like the really struggles in your offensive line are in the middle. So if I was going to go with offensive line, I would probably go with guards or center more than I would the outside guys. But I'm going to go again to a guy. I'm surprised that neither one of you went with Mason Tharp, as much love as there was for Mason Tharp before the year. But I had a ton of love for Baylor Cupp, and so far 7 catches for 91 yards and 1 score. That to me is way lower than what I expected.
After we started talking, if you'd asked me to guess who you were going to say, I was going to say tight end group, and I would have said that you would have said Baylor Cupp. Yeah,
that was the guy. I mean, I felt like he was going to be a huge factor. And I mean, you look at it, the tight ends, Cupp's got 7 grabs, Tharp's got 6 grabs, Teeter's got 2 grabs. And so I completely swung and whiffed on feeling like tight end was going to be a big factor for you so far this season. Again, you're only halfway through. That may change. Yeah, that may change. But that would be the guy that I would say that was the one I was expecting more of, and it hasn't happened. I think my biggest surprise, he was a running back previously, and they decide, we're going to move you out of running back, and we're gonna move you over to receiver. And maybe the thought there was for Xavier White was, you're not really going to get many touches with the great running backs that we have. We got a couple of them that are in front of you, and so we'll find somewhere else to put you. But it almost feels like, no, hey, we think you'd be really good as a receiver, so let's take you off a running back where you were pretty good too, and we think you could help the team more if you were a receiver. And so it wasn't like, hey, you're not getting it done here, let's move you there. It was, hey, you're a really talented guy. Let's find a way where we can get the ball in your hands more. And that's, to me, what it's turned out with Xavier White. So he's the guy that, I mean, already 23 grabs on the season. That's third on the team. I think he's got the potential to be a difference maker, the wide receiver position. He's a guy that I like, can take a short gain into a short pass into a long gain. He can beat you down the field on a deep ball. So I feel like Xavier White's just kind of scratching the surface of how good he can be at the wide receiver position. So to me, he's my biggest surprise.
Yeah, and Coach McGuire talked about him last Monday with regard to moving him to basically that position, and that's more of a natural position for him of where he would rather be. So maybe it's a combination of you got a player who's playing in a spot where he's more familiar with, and you have a need for that spot, and he's taken the ball and run with it, so to speak. You know, he's capitalized on his opportunity. Mm-hmm. Another guy, if you wanted to make a claim for maybe the big surprise, would be Trey Cleveland, because he's been able to catch some big balls for you, and some deep balls. Yeah. So there's another guy.
So other guys for me that I would definitely say the positive with Krishan Merriweather. I expected him to be pretty good, and he's been better than pretty good.
Yeah.
So I would put him on the list. If I'm staying with the linebacker core, I think some of us were really high on Josiah Pierre because Coach said he was going to hurt somebody.
Yeah, that's what he said.
And he, to me, has been pretty quiet.
Although he had a big sack yesterday.
Agreed.
Or Saturday.
Yeah, I agreed. But to me, he's been pretty quiet.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that big sack where you force Oklahoma State to punt, that's where you take the fair catch at your own 4, and the game turns.
Yeah.
7:40 this morning on the morning drive. Stay in sports. Well, no, we've already done that. We've already done this day in sports history. We don't need to review that. We need to do the boom, boom, boom. Give you some sports headlines and some disappointing baseball, but not for one person in this room. I think he was pretty happy with the result last night between the Padres and the Metropolitans.
Your morning blend of sports.
K-State is coming off a big win over Oklahoma. Of course, the Red Raiders off their 37-34 overtime win over number 22 Texas.
And humor.
Sure to tell them that. You suggested that. And, of course, that got a big laugh.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
On the Morning Drive. Take a sip of my cocaine this morning.
You're so bad.
And we'll see what happens over the next hour. Nice to have you with us with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that, or the mobile app. Benchmark hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. We come to you this morning from the First United Bank Double T 97.3 studio. We've talked quite a bit about Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. It'll be topic of conversation, probably all day long today here on the Morning Drive, and, of course, the End of the Bench, which is next on 100.7 The Score. And then you have Bottom Line. You guys probably get into that as well, right?
Tech football?
Yeah, I would think, right?
No, I think we're just going to spend 2 hours breaking down the Kansas TCU game.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry about you. And then Texas Tech will be a topic of conversation on Tech Talk today, along with Aaron Dickens' annual disdain for Christopher Columbus, which is well documented. So that look forward to that at some point in time today. Okay? Mm-hmm. Annual rant. 8:03 this morning on the Morning Drive. All right. The other Big 12 games from Saturday, Jamie, I guess if I said to you, what surprised you about the Big 12 this weekend, we'd say Texas's domination of Oklahoma, not so much that they won, but the just absolute beatdown of 49-0.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
So now the question that begets itself, is Oklahoma that bad? Is Texas that good? Was it just Texas on a good day? right circumstances. They got out there and they just beat the tar out of them.
Well, you'd have to think that losing their starting quarterback was a bad deal for Oklahoma. That had to factor in some, but not that much. Not that much. That was a shock to see that pure domination like that. I thought Quinn Ewers looked really good. I thought he looked really good. I was impressed with him.
$4 million good? I mean, that's the number that he's up to, apparently.
It's not my money. I don't care what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I say he looked really good. It's hard to say that about anybody with that haircut. But
21 of 31, 289, 4 touchdowns. Did throw an interception.
yeah. I think Texas is absolutely good enough to win this conference. I think that Oklahoma, I don't know that they're, we talked about this last week where it's like, I just keep giving them the benefit of the doubt because they're Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right? They're so talented, right? I don't know that he's going to get this team back this year. So I don't think Oklahoma's going to go winless the rest of the way. But I do think that Oklahoma I don't think they're going to finish in the top 5, 6 in the conference.
Really?
Yeah. I just don't. I could be so wrong. And I know they'll be a completely different team by the time they come to Lubbock to play the Red Raiders and all that. So I'm not predicting we're going to blow them out or anything like that. I don't know. They just don't. They look like a team that has accepted their fate.
Okay. And this started with, I mean, they've had a lot of people leave their program, including their head. I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but
well, and I mean, they lost a ton of key players.
Yeah. That
left when he left. They lost all their top recruits. Okay, that left when he left, and it just feels like a bunch of guys that were like, hey, this isn't what I signed up for. I came to Oklahoma to play in college football playoff games, and now here we are struggling in these kind of games, and it's not what I came here for. And
it's kind of like once they lost the opportunity to get very far, then they just kind of gave up.
Yeah, it looks like a bunch of guys that are going, I'm transferring out of here after this year.
Texas, it's a complete beatdown. I mean, they had 34 first downs. I'm not going through all of it, but I mean, Oklahoma had 39 yards passing, 195 yards of offense. I mean, it's just crazy.
39 yards passing.
39 yards passing.
Wow.
They were 3 of 15 on third down. Texas was 10 of 15. 10 of 15 on third down.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Oklahoma was 2 of 4 on fourth down. And Oklahoma was 9 of 17 passing. All right, so, I think what we learned is Oklahoma maybe has given up and is not really going to be a team to contend for the conference title.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Okay. And so Texas has its quarterback.
Yeah, he looks like a good one.
Okay. TCU and Kansas. So here's my take of what came out of this game, okay? My take of what came out of this game is, and Kansas's quarterback got hurt in this game. I'm not making an excuse for him. I think they're better than I thought they were, okay? TCU is proving to be maybe a top 4 team in the Big 12 at this point.
And process of elimination.
Yeah.
Feels like you'd be hard-pressed not to put them in there.
Yeah. I don't know if KU is better than K-State. That's to be determined, and their schedule is going to start getting harder. I do think they're going to get bowl eligible. I mean, they're 5-1 now, so they're probably going to win
one more.
Well, I know, but I mean, they've been 5-0 before and lost 7 straight. I don't know what the status of their quarterback is. He went out with a shoulder injury. He was in street clothes in the second half, but their backup was guy that has been a starter for him before. But TCU, I thought, looked good. I mean, for them to go in there and win that game in somewhat raucous environment, I mean, it's not like they've just been setting the house on fire over the last few years. I mean, it got rid of their coach last year. And then, so I think TCU I think they've validated themselves as to be a problem in the Big 12.
Here's what I think. I don't think there's anybody great in the Big 12 conference.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
I don't think anybody is, look at them and say, oh man, if they made it in the playoff, they could do some damage. I don't think
anybody's going to get in the playoff from the Big 12.
Well, I mean, if Oklahoma State keeps winning.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's got to knock them off for that to not happen. I just, after this weekend, I just continue to look at the rest of Tech's schedule and go, yep, you could win that one, that one. Or, yep, you could lose that one. I mean, it's just, that's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun to me.
I was going to say it's better than.
It doesn't look like any teams that are just head and shoulders above everybody else.
Does not look hopeless.
It does not look hopeless, but at the same time, there looks like there's no patsies. Yeah, I mean, how about Iowa State?
I know.
I mean, Iowa State's given up 23 points in the last 2 games, and they're 0-2.
Yeah.
23 combined. No, 24. And they're 0-2 in those 2 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, Iowa State is not that bad, but their offense is pretty rough. But, I mean, they lose by a point to Kansas State. I mean, they could have been, and they missed 3 field goals last week and lost by 3.
Yeah.
Iowa State could have won both of those games.
Both teams Saturday, K-State and Iowa State, were terrible on third down. K-State 4 of 13, Iowa State 5 of 13.
Terrible on third down offensively.
Yeah.
They both were really good on third down defensively.
Yes, they were. They sure were.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.